warning. The following program is a satirical look at Indigenous news, politics, and current events. Bannock and tea is advised.
Bonjour, Tansei. Hello. Welcome to the Laughing Drum, my friends. Television so deeply and exquisitely indigenous. Our cameras are maintained with bear grease. We've got an exciting show tonight. The Red Power panel is here and they are ready to tear truth a new one. But first, earlier this month, the Laughing Drum went to the Assembly of First Nations Special Chiefs Assembly in lovely, scenic Gatineau, Quebec. Now, if you don't know what that is, the Special Chiefs Assembly, imagine Comic-Con, but for chiefs. It's Chiefs-a-Palooza. Check it out. And anyone is at the AFN Special Assembly, including lawyer and gangster academic Pam Palmer. Pam?
That's right.
Pam, what brings you back to these meetings?
I come to these meetings for the leaders that are here to try to convince them and inform them about what the AFN is doing, how they're hurting our jurisdiction, and what they can do themselves to make sure that that doesn't happen. I definitely don't come here for the AFN.
No? Why not? There's a lot of headdresses and beaded bolo ties.
Yeah, I know.
Are you familiar with Billy Jack? Billy Jack was a 1970s Indigenous action hero. He wore a black cowboy hat, and he would take his boots off, and he would roundhouse kick bad guys in the face. That was his whole shtick, basically, right? If you could time travel and you could transform yourself into Billy Jack, who would you time travel Billy Jack roundhouse kick in the face? Which historical figure?
Oh my goodness, maybe Perry Bellegarde. Does he count as historical?
He soon will be.
Yeah. Maybe Sean Atleo, but he booted himself out.
Yeah, he kind of roundhouse kicked himself.
I think two's good.
Yeah. If you're going to talk about pot, you might want to get the name right. It wouldn't be a Chiefs convention without somebody that sells ties, beaded bolo ties, that sort of thing. I'm joined by this man right here.
My name is Michael Yellowhair with Tammy Beauvais Designs.
Beautiful. So what is your biggest seller?
Right now, our biggest seller has been the vests that we make, and ribbon shirts, also the ties, and a lot of our women products.
Yeah. Are Chiefs big spenders?
They are moderate spenders. Yeah. You know, they get what they need, and then they wear it while they're on their tours.
Chiefs love beaded bolo ties. Why don't you sell beaded bolo ties?
Well, it's, we don't have time to do beaded work. It's hard for us to do even our production of our products.
So that's kind of the in-between, the happy in-between.
This is, it's got the prints and everything, beadwork and everything. So, yeah, it's been good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing you've sold here this week?
The biggest thing we sold is our capes here.
How do you think it would look on me?
It'll go real good. Yeah. I tried on some things.
Okay, let me. What do you think? Is it my color? Does it bring my eyes out? All right, so it's not officially a part of the agenda at these meetings, but a lot of the candidates, the people who want to be the next national chief, are at this AFN Special Assembly, and one of them is Russ Diabo, a Mohawk policy analyst. Russ, welcome to the Laughing Drum.
Thank you.
Why do you want to be national chief?
Well, I think that the Trudeau government's agenda is a threat to our rights, our Aboriginal treaty rights. And I think that AFN, under the leadership of Perry Bellegarde, is too supportive and too cozy with this government.
You've never been a chief.
I've never been a chief, but neither was Ovid McCready when he ran. And there's other national chiefs that...
He's playing the Ovid card. The big question my audience wants to know, will you wear a headdress?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No.
It could be the biggest headdress ever.
I've heard that there is a contest for that, but I think Perry will win that one. Especially the size of his head.
What's going to be your first act if you're elected national chief? What's the first thing you're going to do?
Change the locks on the office.
You can almost smell the headdress oil. We have to take a short break, but when we come back, the Red Power panel is here. Don't go away. Welcome back to the Laughing Drum, my friends. Television so exquisitely indigenous. Our status cards wear tiny little headdresses. As always, the Red Power panel is here this week. The Red Power panel is a man whose Elvis impersonation is so spot on, he's more famous than the real Elvis, Jerry the Big Bear Barrett.
Hello.
Anishinaabe comic and the pride of the Couchiching First Nation, Alyssa Kickson. And joining us this week is former child actress and now comic, Dawn Lavand. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we've got an exciting show this week, but we're talking about some pretty crappy topics. A well-known American comedy duo have lost at least one Canadian gig after Indigenous folk were offended by one of their jokes during a concert in honor of the Humboldt Broncos in April. The duo, Williams Ree, also call themselves the Indian and the White Guy, and they tour North America with their show, which combines music and comedy, and they often, play on stereotypes. The night of the tribute concert, Williams had launched into a parody of American country singer Luke Bryan's tune, Country Girl, Shake It For Me. So he was going, Indian boy, shake it for me, shake it for me, shake it for me, shake it. Anyways, he basically calls them shake it for the Indian with the STDs. So that pissed off a lot of people. There was a huge backlash online, and now the two have lost an upcoming gig at the Casino Regina because of it. First thoughts, guys, you're all comedians. Mm-hmm. Is this offensive?
Yeah, it is actually, because it's not clever. It is not a clever joke. Like if there was a way that they could have made it smart and clever, then it wouldn't be offensive. But the fact that, they decided to punch down on the Indigenous community, and then it's not even clever.
See,
it rhymes.
It rhymes.
But that's the thing, is that I think that for the audience didn't know. And that's the other thing, is one thing I was always told is you're not supposed to explain a joke.
No.
Like it should be the joke. The joke is the joke. But
Yeah.
I think in this case, this is a shtick between the two of them, right? Like
Yeah.
they bite back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
Is this a case then of wrong place and wrong time? Like this is basically their act.
Yeah.
But they were in a crowd that was basically still reeling from not just the Humboldt Broncos, but I mean there's a lot of racial tension in
Yeah.
Saskatchewan now because of what happened with Colton Bushy.
Yes.
What do you think?
I just felt like the joke was poorly delivered from the beginning to the end, and yes, there was a lot of racial tension. There is lots of racial tension present now.
Yeah.
So I mean, there wasn't a lot of forethought into it, and they're comedians and they're entertainers, and they should have known better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's responsible for something like that, though?
I think the person who booked them as the MC.
Yeah.
They knew that what they were booking because Williams and Ree MC all kinds of big country music festivals across the prairies, and they've been a proven entity for years and years. I just think they were the wrong hosts at the wrong time. They did their show that they do every night on stage in Vegas or wherever it is they perform down in the States, but I don't think they were sensitive enough to the Humboldt Broncos memorial, the tribute show that was going on. There are much more just as funny local comedians that they could have hired for that gig. Kenny Shaw is one of them, and I've worked with him. I've worked with Williams and Ree over the years. Kenny Shaw is from Saskatchewan. He MCs the Dauphin Country Fest every year. He's hilarious. He's great with the crowds. He's got funny bits. He plays guitar. He's absolutely clean, clever, corporate, and he's awesome. Big Daddy Taz is another comic that he's from Saskatchewan as well, so he could have emceed it. But I think as a comic, you have to be sensitive to what's going on, what the event is for.
Have any of you ever done a joke that went south like that?
Where do we start?
Oh man, yeah. I've definitely had a few doozies where I thought, oh, this is how it's going to be perceived, and then I get off stage and they're like, are you really making fun of elderlies like with disabilities? And I'm like, no, shoot, is that what it looked like? Crap. Like, we've all had it, but, we get that out of the way at open mics and, like at smaller venues so that we can learn and, build upon what's appropriate to do at a corporate fundraiser, especially when it's something to that capacity of the Humboldt Broncos.
Yeah. Dawn, ever have a joke go south?
I'm still pretty new, so I think that if a joke did go south, would definitely be a learning lesson, teaching moment. So
I
I'm
had
hoping
a,
to not experience that yet.
One of the I guess, challenges of doing comedy on First Nations communities where they don't have the money to invest in a big sound system. When you get there, if you get a crappy sound system, you work with what you can get, right? I was up somewhere just north of the Paw, and I made friends with the elder who picked me up at the airport, and through the PA system, I said, I had a great time today with that guy right there, that guy, yeah, that guy. In the PA system, he heard fat guy. And so after the show, his granddaughter took me aside and said, "Why would you embarrass my grandfather like that?" I said, "Well, like what?" She said, "You kept calling him fat." I said, "No, that." He said, "No, you called him fat." I said, "That. Why would I come out to your community and call an elder fat? Why would I do that?" "I don't know, but you just did." "I didn't." And then the whole conversation went on into the night, and I couldn't wait to get the heck out of there.
Oh. How do you make up for a bad joke?
I never go back.
Yeah.
Haven't been invited back.
I don't think
Don't
I would
expect it anytime soon.
I would either. Do comedians apologize for their jokes? Because Williams and Ree, they did one of those sort of non-apology things where they said,
I'm sorry you're offended.
This is our act, this is what we do, I'm sorry you're offended. And then there's the whole, we've never had a complaint before, that sort of thing. But is that something that comedians do?
With Williams and Ree, I'll tell you something. When I first started out in my comedy, I was just this big. Now I'm an elder, and I opened for Williams and Ree in Brandon, Manitoba once, and I wanted to ask Terry Williams, the Indian of the Indian and the White Guy. I said, I get chastised after my show. The town drunk wants to talk to me about his take on Native politics. And I said, they heckle me when I'm on stage. They heckle me when I'm off the stage. I almost get beaten up. And now you, as a very famous comedian, Native comedian, the Indian of the Indian and the White Guy, what do you tell people? He says, well, that happens to me all the time. And I always tell them, if you don't like my act, go F yourself. And I said, well, that's great advice. I could have thought of that myself,
Sounds solid.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, so then when Humboldt happened, right, and they got criticized, and all this stuff was going on, and they issued an apology, nowhere did I hear him in big, bold letters or anywhere did he say, go F yourself. He was very quiet suddenly and very restrained and very humble again.
Yeah. Do you think is he hurting in any way though because of this? Like I mean, because it seems to me that they're still performing. Does controversy add to comedy in some ways? Like is that some people's
It depends. It depends. I feel like for them, it's not going to because people are so racist. Yeah. I feel like if anything, it might get them, a few more gigs because there's so many racist people in Canada. Whereas you look at somebody like Louis C.K., where is he? Like we haven't heard from him because depending on what the crime is that you've committed, Well,
look at Kathy Griffin with her when she held the severed head of Donald Trump, and she was banned from all kinds of gigs around the world, and that had to come back to her. Started in Australia, and then slowly she made her way back.
Yeah, had she done the same thing but with Obama, I feel like it would not have hurt her career as much.
And look,
because Canada and America are so racist.
Yeah. Well, look at Kramer from Seinfeld when he was at the comedy store in the Laugh Factory in Hollywood.
He dropped the N-bomb.
Yeah, he went completely off the rails, and honestly, I don't think his career ever recovered from that.
Yeah.
So it can happen.
Yeah, it can happen.
And it may happen to you yet.
It could happen.
Testing the waters. They tried testing the waters with comedians in cars or comedians getting coffee or something like that. He's got a little 15-minute stint on there, but pretty much he's been blacklisted.
Yeah. So some of the pitfalls, right? As a new comic, you'll find out some audiences are receptive, some aren't.
If you were going to commit career suicide, which joke would you tell? You don't have to tell the joke, but maybe pick a topic. Like if you just said, you know what, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to go off stage and I'm going to explode myself. Which joke would you tell? Don't tell the joke. Just which topic? Which topic would you broach? Do you think that would be career ending?
Oh shoot, I broach a lot of pretty controversial topics to begin with. I guess I would probably be like, you know what? like make a joke about siding with Louis C.K. and Bill Cosby and like all those guys, and just be like, I'd like to have dinner with all of them. We should all just forgive them. Like, I feel like if I wanted to commit career suicide, I would do that, and I would do it like sincerely. But I'm not at that stage yet.
You're not ready to give it up yet?
Not ready. I'm not.
I have a bit where I wanted to put it on YouTube a while ago, and it's always I kept it in my act for comedy clubs and university crowds because it killed, and they just loved that bit every single time. And I told my wife, I want to put this on YouTube, and she said, don't put that on YouTube, because she said that will end your career. And I've always thought to myself, now that I'm an old man, I should have put it on YouTube, right? And who knows what would have happened? But it's just you've heard the bit. And it's a song, a parody song that I sing to American Pie, and it kills every single time. It was banned at the comedy club where I emceed forever. The manager came up and said, "You can't do that. We can't do that bit anymore." And I said, "Okay." And then one of Canada's biggest headliners came into that club and said, "Are you going to do that American Pie song tonight?" I said, "No, it's been banned from the club." He says, "Well, then I'm not going on. If Jerry can't do the pie song," he says, "I'm not going on." So management bent, and I got to do my pie song one last time.
Now, I really want to hear this. Well, we'll do that in the last show. We got to take a short break. But when we come back, we're going to have more with the Red Power panel. Don't go away.
Did you know we got the social medias?
Man, don't lie.
It's true. Like the Laughing Drum on Facebook and follow us on Twitter right now.
All right, welcome back to the Laughing Drum, my beloved Laughing Drumlets. I'm here with the Red Power panel, and we are going to talk about the film industry, but specifically the new film, Indian Horse. The film adaptation of Richard Wagamese' novel hit theaters this month and last month, and it's being both praised as a monument to his story and for shining a light on the residential school experience. But it's also being criticized because while the actors are Indigenous, the filmmakers are not. Adding to the controversy is that one of the actors is also accused of physical domestic assault and abuse. So guys, it's a sensitive topic, but can you separate work from the artist? How do you think about that? You see a controversial work, but somebody is attached to it that you're not a fan of. Do you separate those two?
Now, because of the Me Too and everybody's outing everybody for all their corporate secrets, who knows what's been going on behind the scenes? Yeah. And so your Harvey Weinsteins of the world, who is a billionaire and owns the Weinstein Company, he gets, his secrets are told, and suddenly his entire corporation crumbles, and he's out. Right, your Matt Lauers, your Tom Brokaws, your all these people, and I lose respect for them right away. I'd still like my projects produced, but it won't be by Harvey Weinstein.
But in this case, we're talking about because it was a similar thing. There was a movie called Birth of a Nation, and it was about the rising up against slavery and things like that. But one of the actors in that movie was accused of something similar, and you had people deciding that they were going to boycott the whole film because of one person's involvement. That seems to be what's happening here. It's not the only reason why people are boycotting it. They're also boycotting it because it's non-Indigenous people who have produced this film. So do you go that far when one person is involved?
It depends. I feel like in this case, because the book that Wagamese wrote, it came from such a raw place, and he's just this astounding author who didn't get to see his film come to fruition. So I feel like with the fact that they went with non-Indigenous producers, and then the actor, it's not that hard to do, a little bit of a background check on who you're doing films with. It is super simple. It's it's such a simple task that they could have, avoided this. And I feel like it took away so much from the film and so much from the story that yeah, I didn't go see it yet.
Oh.
I was very conflicted. I read the book, but the movie, I was just so conflicted because I can't support that.
Yeah.
Like, as a woman, I can't support that.
Well, Dawn's an actress, and when you get a call from a casting agency, do they ever look into your background or ask if you've got any skeletons in your closet before you show up?
Yeah.
No. Kind of like comedy, like I just kind of fell into it. That's kind of how it went with acting for me. It just kind of fell into it. And also I was a child actress, so I mean, hopefully by then I don't have skeletons, you know, I mean.
I stole an apple.
Yeah.
I've seen the movie Mikey. I feel like there still could be, what about The Good Son, Macaulay Culkin, like
Just an evil child.
Lurking.
Okay, so I feel like we should have did this right off the top. For our audience who's watching this now, you were a child actress. Tell us which films you were in.
I was in The Diviners. I had a small bit in Spirit Rider. I played Mary Crowdog in Last the Dogman. Yep. I was also in a feature film called, I played Mary Crowdog in Lakota Woman, and then I was in the movie Last the Dogman, which was like in movie theaters.
Yeah, that was crazy. So you had a pretty accomplished career when you were just a child.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, like, nobody cares about that now that I'm in my 30s. I mean, I don't get to put that 10 years of a career on my resume.
What?
You weren't like Drew Barrymore? You didn't have a raging coke habit when you were 8 years old?
No. I liked Coffee Crisp chocolate bars, though.
Hey. This is a family show. Take it.
It's those wafers.
Okay, let's
diabetic talk here.
Yeah. Okay, getting back to Indian Horse. Thank you for that. I appreciate you coming on the show. Getting back to Indian Horse. If you could be whitewashed the way they whitewashed that film, which filmmaker would you want to whitewash you? Which non-Indigenous filmmaker would you want to tell the story? Jerry Barrett, the movie.
Well, Clint Eastwood did that movie, Indian Horse. So I'm thinking Spielberg.
Yeah?
Damn it, step up, Stephen. Don't you see there's a movie here to be made? Thank you.
Alyssa?
I don't, Drew Barrymore.
Yeah?
Yeah. I feel like she would accurately depict me. We both have the lisp, about the same age. And, she's got some good films that she's directed, I think.
Dawn?
Yes, mine would be Sophie Coppola.
Ah.
Yeah.
Little hipster film.
Little hipster film, and have some funky music and, lots of still images of me gazing off into the distance.
Yes.
Bill Murray love interest or no?
Bill Murray? Ugh.
That was what made her famous. All right, I think that's all the time we have for today. Before we go, though, I have a gift for you. All guests and new panelists on our show get a lovely can of Laughing Drum canned luncheon meat. So that's for you. I know it's...
now I can savor the taste of colonization.
Yes, exactly. Decolonization.
Oh, decolonization.
Although you might recolonize with that.
Yeah, put some rye bread with it.
Yeah, there you go. Now it's Thank you all so much for coming on. Thanks to the Red Power panel, Jerry the Big Bear Barrett, Melissa Kickson, and Dawn Lavan. Thank you very much. We'll see you back here next week. You better come back.
I like how there was more of a Jean and less